What's going on, OS? Welcome back. We are here to break down the live stream from today by the MLB The Show crew about franchise mode. Saw some big updates today to specific items that make me excited about where franchise is going. The way you play franchise mode, some of the player differentiation that we're going to see with player quirks, and a couple of little things that were kind of snuck in at the end that they kind of rolled over. You'll see some things on screen that I'm going to go into regarding revenue and budgets and stuff like that that they didn't talk about, but were on screen for long enough for me to about fall out of my chair. By the way, there's one part of this stream where I will go insane. It is a legend reveal. I'm sorry. I know this is a franchise breakdown, but I love my BVDs and I love the guy who was wearing them, and I'm all in on that. So, let's go. We're going to start right here. First of all, the stream was hosted by Luis Martinez, who is kind of the roster franchise guru. He's also on the live team, I believe. Matt Schaefer, another one of their big franchise guys. And behind me, Nick Livingston, who's kind of hairless and looking at me a little weird. Hi. I think he's looking at me because he wants me to shave my beard like that. That being said, let's go right into this. All right, here's the screen that we're going to talk about today. Franchise mode, easier ways to manage, new ways to play, which are the critical situations and quick manage. Player quirks, which are probably the largest addition to roster management in MLB The Show in the series so far. You're going to see why I say that a little later and what I think this means in terms of player quirks a little later. But I do think this is going to, I think it's not going to revolutionize, but it is going to revamp how you look at your roster for team breakdowns. And as we heard, some of them will make their way into Diamond Dynasty. So you DD guys are not left out of this. Let's go. Let's move on to the first thing. Oh, I'm just making my arrow in the right place. All right. The first thing we find out is not that. So right here, you see the first screen we look at is you can continue from the Show 16. We already knew that, but you can load from the Show 16 cloud. That is a new feature to the show. For those of you with multiple PS4s, or those of you making the splurge to get the PS4 Pro, and you're going to have two PS4s, instead of having to transfer the data over, you're now going to be able to load it from the Show cloud. PlayStation's cloud in general is not, I'm not a fan of how it works, but it looks like the Show cloud, there is actually a button to upload to the Show cloud. It's going to go right into the Show 17 for those of you that want to continue your franchises as we go on. So, kind of big thing. Let's see here. Task management on the screen. So, when you start into a franchise mode, you are going to see this screen first. A lot of you hardcore franchise guys already knew that you could go into the options screen and set these manual and automatic. The problem is that, and I saw a lot of the chat say they weren't really impressed by this. Guys, you franchise guide players, you want as many franchise people playing this game as possible. This allows them to do that. Taking this screen and saying, hey guys, for you new franchise guys, let me not overwhelm you with, waiver transactions, or let me not get into scouting, because guys, scouting, I set it to auto sometimes. There's a lot to go on in scouting in this game, and to keep up with it as you're playing, like, you got to realize that some of these new guys don't always get that luxury, and they don't realize that that's in the settings. They're going to highlight this in this mode. I think this is awesome, and they kind of break down the complexity, but you can still go in and you will see it on the franchise main screen and tick off each one of these as auto and manual. So these are not grouped together like for forever. So let's see here. Let's see. The next screen was this right here. You have the ability to skip spring training. Again, another thing that I heard personally that I know a lot of the community didn't talk about, but Personally, I heard a bunch of times, why do I have to play spring training? Like, why can't I just sim through the whole thing, or why can't I just end it? Now you can completely skip over spring training, much like you could skip over the preseason in Madden. Again, for new users, and that's, again, a great thing, guys. Remember, a lot of these features you see are for new users to get into franchise mode. All of you guys that say franchise mode gets neglected, guess what? The more new users that get into franchise mode, the more love it's going to see. So please be welcoming of new people. Let's keep moving on here. You will see this first screen. The new franchise home screen you will now see has 5 tabs on it. Home, team, acquisitions, which is like right there, league, and options. Acquisitions is new. I'll go through each one of these screens, but again, if you look over to like critical situations over there, which we'll talk about here in a second, there's a little marker that turns it on and off. That is there for all of the different things. Also, right behind my head, missions. We'll talk about that in a second. Plus, right above me, the budget screen. You see the new word cash flow. That will come in a little bit later. So they went over each one of these screens. The acquisition screen, which is completely new, allows you to get into the trade in your initial home screen instead of having to go into another tab and find stuff. Again, you see all the autos that are set and all the manuals that are set. Scouting, free agency is over yonder. The trade block right above me, which you will kind of see a little later, actually fills up with people as you go, so you can see them from the main screen. Again, it's about getting you a faster experience for those guys that don't have a ton of time, where franchise mode normally requires a ton of time. So let's go here. Let's see. Did they go into the team screen? No, they flipped right by it. That's right. All right, so these are franchise missions. I saw, again, some people say, why do I care about missions? You franchise hardcore gamers gotta open up a little bit to the change. Gotta open your minds up here a little bit, guys. So franchise missions are kind of a roadmap, and they said that exact word. A roadmap for new users who are a little overwhelmed. So you see, mission accomplished, complete all 14 franchise starter missions. And as they said before, these will update. These will be dynamic. If you get through the starter missions, you may have more as the season progresses. You get, from what I saw when they were scrolling through it, you get XP. Let's actually play it real quick.
Guidance of what you want to be doing.
So you get XP, you get stubs. You notice right above me that it shows what the rewards are. Again, all rookie missions. So I'll pause it here for a second when I get to one. So that is, you gotta, when you complete your goals, view the GM goals screen, you get a mission. Perfect. Fire, make an offer to a staff member. Another one. Just an easy starter. See if he goes down to skipper. Participate in the amateur draft. Fully scout a player. Like things that new users, new franchise users may not do, or veteran franchise users might not even know they can do. And as you can hear, Matt, who's behind me, talking about that, it just kind of gives new. And again, you saw that screen. You saw that screen. Franchise missions. There's going to be more as the season goes on. So it kind of gives you an idea in your franchise where to go to start us off. All right, this is the new Launchpad screen. We showed this before. You can play a full game. These times are estimates. Please don't think that you're going to get forced into a 45-minute timer. But these are all estimates. You have play full game. You have player lock. You have behind me the old school manage the full game. And the thing I'm most excited about is quick manage, which we will talk about here in a few minutes. So what do they go into first? So you can see them go into the schedule. It's April 2017. You see the little MLB Network things we talked about in the presentation screens. So what they're doing now is they're going to go into, oh, well, first a Legends reveal. So the Legends reveal is, Jim Palmer, the Baltimore Orioles legendary pitcher, Hall of Fame pitcher. This is his first Cy Young year. It is a hardware card, 1973, 90 overall. And my dude can throw some gas. My guy throws a 4-seam slider, curveball, changeup, 2-seamer. Great fielding because he was always a good fielder. Good stamina, good hits over 9. The K over 9, not really where you want it. And I think he's getting that artificial home run over 9 boost. Please remember that home run over 9 doesn't mean anything in gameplay. So when you're looking at a Diamond Dynasty card, Palmer is getting a little bit of a boost. I don't know that this card is worth the 90, but he's an Oriole, so I'm going to get him at some point, I'm sure. But moving past that, so they start into critical situations. So let me explain what critical situations are. If you've played Madden and played Play the Moments, it's kind of the same idea. What it'll do is it will sim through games as you go. It will sim through games, and it will allow you to go into very specific situations. Which means like critical in terms of a save opportunity, or critical in terms of a walk-off opportunity, or critical in terms of a historical stat possibility. Like, let's say you're a triple from the cycle, so you will get to go for that triple for the cycle. And this is the screen you will have. You see right here. So it looks like the loading screen you come into. You see that, let's see. So this is this critical situation right here. You see Ken Giles is on the mound. You have Dan Vogelbach at second. Carlos Ruiz at first. You are down 3-2 to Houston, and you've got Mike Freeman at the plate. The other thing you want to look at over there is enter the game, simulate to the end of the game, and turn off critical situations. You can actually turn off critical situations if you forgot to turn them off before from this screen. I think that is also key because I know a lot of times I have options I forget to turn off, like simming and road to the show, and then I get to a point and I'm like, oh god, I've got to play this game now, and you can't get past it. Now you can, or you can just skip it with simulate to the end of the game. Again, right here, you see these notables. I like that they add stats here. I like that there's stats right here talking about everything. It gives you pretty much the situation you're walking into.
What do we have? So we're the Mariners, remember?
So it loads you right into it, and then you will get there. This is the loading screen. Again, shows what Mike Freeman has done today. Little MLB network, but you get right into the game, which I think was really cool. Whoa, what was that? Whoa, hold on. I saw that, right? What was that slider? I think we're getting something, guys. Hold on.
There's a lot on the line here. You know, I think you're using button swing and it's set up to analog, and you just completely embarrass yourself.
Right there. Oh, there we go, guys. HDR confirmed. For those of you wondering, this is not a franchise thing, but guess what? You guys wondering about the PS4 Pro? It at least has HDR. And it has a slider for HDR intensity. So, as a heads up, yeah, Steve Noah took a picture of it, I know. But in this stream, for any of you looking, there it is. It also has audio presets, which you already know about the headset, the different headset ones you can do, the volume presets. And yeah, inside the show, people were asking if you could turn inside the show off. Yes, you just turn the volume down. HDR is for 4K. So the PS4 Pro is obviously going to have some kind of HDR support. Okay, we don't need to watch this. Although I will say, the game looks better and better every time I see it. Even from the strike zone view, like, you can see the detail in the game looks better and better. Mike Freeman's face obviously looks better. We're going to faces a little later too, even though it's a franchise stream.
2 out. Runners are going. Top of the 9th. Down 1. We're trying to close out the other team.
So again, once you get into critical situations, it just continues to sim. So you start up your sim, and it doesn't always put you in every game. If the game never gets close, you won't have a critical situation. It'll sim past it. So as a heads up, you do not get in every game with critical situations. So you turn off. You can turn them off in multiple places. Again, the loading screen is pretty cool. See, there's Mariners alternate teal jerseys. Tanner Shepard's the fisheye cam is back, making everything look gorgeous. Player, let's see here. By the way, the rewards you get for critical situations, I saw this ask in the chat, and I'm going to answer based on what Player Lock did last year. If you play Player Lock or you play critical situations, you will not get the same reward that you will get for playing a 9-inning game. The rewards you get are based on your performance and the amount of innings you play. So again, your stubs, your rewards, and all that, you're not going to get a ton by doing that. Let's see. They talk about different critical situations. You see Edwin Diaz pitching to James Loney. This is a one-run lead to protect. So again, a save situation is considered critical. And they load into the game there. Edwin Diaz looking evil. A little picture of the Seattle broadcast cam, which I think was in last year. Again, you see that confirmation there. The Mariners have defeated the Indians. You want to keep simming. You don't have to go back to the main screen. You can go right back into your sim to the next critical situation. Again, it's about making things faster. Player Lock, you see that? Segura has 2 home runs already. You have the opportunity to hit a third one with Gene Segura. About the statistical opportunities we talked about. So this is, I think this is the Player Lock they were talking about. Let me get into that stat real quick. All right, so Player Lock was in last year. A lot of people are like, well, Player Lock's not new. Well, no, it's not. But the majority of people playing didn't know you could use it. Like, it wasn't something they stood out. It was like a one-button press during the lineup screen. Now they're showing you can play Player Lock, play it much like Road to the Show, and get through a game in about 10 minutes. Again, guys, this edition isn't for you hardcore guys that already knew this. It's for the new guys that want to get into this franchise mode and find a way for them to play it. So they Player Lock with Robinson Cano. And then this right here is the biggest thing for me personally, and I think for those of you that want to play multiple seasons and get to see different drafted prospects or how guys build up, this is called Quick Manage. Again, it's about a 5-minute experience so that you can actually extend out. What's really cool is there's a lot of OOTP in this for you guys that are out of the park baseball, tech sim fans. So over here, you see pitch, pitch around, pitch to contact, walk batter, or sub. You can actually tell your pitcher what to do for every at-bat. And you'll see this. You can also, by the way, right here, simulate half inning. If you want to get through them a little faster, just go for an entire half inning. So
that's a rule. So what about the guys who want to look at attributes? You can go left and right.
Yep, and you can see that. You go to each player card for everything. If you want to look at, look at the matchup, you can absolutely do that. The player cards are available on the Quick Manage screen for you guys that really want to make those matchups count. And you'll notice the other thing right here, it says enter game. So the only time that this mode will have to load is if you load into a game. And if you want to jump in and out, you don't have to load back into the game. There's no loading time loading back into the game. It does not show pitch count. I just see that Jeffy in chat just asked this. Jeffy 777. It does not show pitch count. It shows energy right here. So while you might, I don't think in the show, this is going to sound kind of not baseballish, but in the show, while pitch counts matter, you're looking more at your energy for your pitcher than you are pitch count. Like if I have the pitch count and the energy both showing, I'm not going to go, okay, he's at 90 pitches. I'm going to go, oh, well, he's still got a quarter of an energy left. So, yeah. So you see that. Again, you see how it changes here with runners on base. You can pitch, you can do a pickoff. You can pitching change and all that good stuff. And one of the really cool things here is this. Color-coded so you can easily look at this and see what's going on.
Okay, 2 outs. Lefty on lefty. We'll just pitch to Calhoun.
And see, even though he's not pitching around, I did see this in the chat for the live stream as well. Even though he's not pitching around, you're still getting that the pitch. You're still getting walks. So his ratings definitely matter here. So you'll see here, got Smiley, and there he goes. Once in a game, this is the only time in a single game that if you want to jump in and out, you only load in once. So Mike Trout hitting 393, baby. Devin Travis hitting 365 early. Okay, this is another question I saw in chat. You see the hot and cold with Felix is a 7.65, Edwin Diaz is a 4.09, Garrett Richards is a 4.30 ERA. How can he be hot? Remember, hot streaks are based on 1 week performances in the show. So a guy can have a 4.3 ERA if he started at like 6 and has brought it down. Don't think just because he's a 4.3 that hot and cold streaks are broken. So, again, he brings it right into game, right to the at-bat you're at. CJ Cron against Drew Smiley. Luis goes into this, and I think loses anyway. But, again, this is the first inning. So, you see this. They're going to skip around. Now, watch this. Hold on. This is the coolest thing for me. So this is the same game. This is the game that you see Smiley is still in up here with the low energy.
And here, see, we made it all the way to the
ninth inning, right? Same game. They've already loaded in once. Right into the game. That is extremely clutch for you guys that want to jump in and out. That were always like, oh, I don't want to jump back in. It's like a 20-second delay. Right back into the game, no loading screen. You load once for each game. So that is, again, they didn't talk about that. They didn't mention that. They should have, because that is amazingly clutch for you guys that want to jump in and out. There is no pitch out button, EHL. There's no pitch out. There's a pick off, but there is no pitch out button that I saw. Because for Quick Manage, remember, Quick Manage, you're looking at one batter at a time, not one pitch. I'm guessing they do sim pitch outs because the CPU uses the pitch outs. So, but it's one batter at a time instead of one pitch. So they're gonna bring a guy in here. We'll skip through that. Mariners win. Mariners win. Mariners win. We're going to get another legend reveal here. Again, I like the achievement screen. I like the fact that it shows me why I got the XP that I did this year. That was something sorely missing last year. So, new legend. We will go over him real quick. Eric Karros, the 1995 breakout Eric Karros card. With the Topps Love right there. Now, this surprised me because Eric Karros is one of those guys that has these weird contact high, power low splits. You can see 92 contact versus lefties, 79 contact versus righties, but 95 power versus righties as opposed to the 63 power versus lefties. So a guy that, when you're looking for balance this year, this is a guy you could have in your lineup that could hit both in a different way. And fielding at first base, 78 will do it for you. And then the most interesting thing for me of this entire stream is right here. Let's get into it. Come on, come on, show them to me. Show me the quirks. Yeah, I did feel kind of bad about that. Eric Karros gets knocked out of the booth and then comes back as a legend card. Okay. So, this is player quirks. The way they're explained is they are an extension of the current attributes of the player. There are about, I think he said, a little over 20 player quirks between batters, pitchers, and we saw some fielding ones that they didn't mention. You'll see them on Manny Machado a little later. They go over a bunch of guys' different quirks. So this is Devin Travis. You see over there, hitting machine. He excels at getting base hits. Pressure cooker. Performs better when there are runners on base. Road Warrior performs better when playing on the road. Night Player performs better in night games or unfazed. Excels when hitting with 2 strikes. What does that mean? What does it do? Mill, Sony, what do these do? Are they just telling me something? Well, first of all, they tell you what kind of player they are just from sitting here. When you're making a trade, think about that. You're going to want to look at player quirks and how you build your team. This slide is extremely key in showing that. Right here. So we saw that Devin Travis on the right-hand side over here. Road Warrior, Night Player, and Unfazed gets a larger PCI, the one all the way to the right, versus when he's in a day game and he gets no bonuses. And then you have Night and the 2 strikes is right here. You get 3 quirk bonuses. So 1 quirk might not be a lot, but if you start packing on quirks, look at how much bigger this PCI is. Devin Travis becomes big, like really big for this. So again, when you're building your team, this might have to do a lot with that. You're not just looking at player attributes anymore. You're looking at player quirks. Anything that adds into team building, I'm all for. The other part of this is that we found out, Luis said, that some of these player quirks are dynamic. You can pick them up as you go along. You can lose them as you go along. So depending on your performance each year, while they are pre-programmed into MLB players, depending on what they did in 2016, Luis even said that with roster updates, quirks can change. That's right. If they put out a roster update, which they do every Thursday this year, I believe, your player quirks could change. Obviously, they will not change in your franchise, but the new rosters will introduce new and take away player quirks depending on current performance. Diamond Dynasty, guys. So what was said about Diamond Dynasty with this is that player quirks do not transfer. There are certain player quirks that are split based that will not transfer over, like Legends and Flashback guys. They just didn't have the stat tracking back then. But player quirks will be on Diamond Dynasty, guys, making it a little bit more to look at when you're building your Diamond Dynasty squad, especially for, as we keep talking about, events. Let's keep going here. Player quirks. All right, so they go over a couple different player quirks here. We're going to go over each player because I think some of these are really interesting to look at. Justin Turner's player quirks. Right here, you see Justin Turner, there's a pressure cooker. So kind of like the clutch attribute, which what it's supposed to do when there's runners on base, he hits better. Road Warrior, so performs better when playing on the road. Excels at hitting breaking balls. We saw this one on the Rizzo video from this week. Or fights, performs better in the 9th inning. Okay, again, all things that make him different. Like before, we didn't have this kind of stuff. We didn't know who we would want up in the 9th inning. But if you have think about this. If you have a pinch hitter that has fighter, you want him batting. That's a perfect bench guy for you. Very cool. Very, very cool. All right, so that was Turner. I think they showed Syndergaard. Okay, Syndergaard here, untouchable, excels at striking out hitters. So I'm guessing that will have a direct effect on the PCI of the batteries facing. Control Artist excels at limiting walks. And Cheesy throws an extremely effective fastball. So again, when he's using his fastball, PCI down a little bit. The other thing that was cool is they're using the diamond background for him in franchise mode. This was taken out of franchise mode, so the diamond background, the card art they're using for Diamond Dynasty is now making its way into franchise mode, which I think is kind of cool. Syndergaard, I think Tanaka was next. All right, so Masahiro Tanaka. Why I like this card is the introduction of this right here, Mr. Splitty. They talked about it a little bit in the stream, but there are specific pitch-based quirks too. So guys that have one pitch that are really overpowering, you know, Zach Britton's sinker. So Mr. Splitty has a better split finger fastball. Road Warrior performs better on the road. knee buckler, throws an extremely effective breaking ball. So now when Tanaka's throwing his splitter, which again, hey, little thing in here, his splitter is his #1 pitch. Maybe we're going to start seeing #1 pitches not be all fastballs this year. They're going to evolve past that. You also get workhorse pitches deep into the game by losing energy at a lower rate. So his stamina rating means something, but you also get this player quirk that's that makes him go a little better. Very cool. But again, these pitching specific ones are what really set me off. I was like, okay, so now when a guy has a really good pitch, it's not just his pitching rating. Like, he gets this, I can look at the quirks and go, okay, awesome splitter. Let's go. And we didn't find out how prospects are going to have these quirks, how scouting prospects will have these quirks, or how the fake minor leaguers will have them. But imagine scouting a guy and seeing like he has Mr. Splitty or whatever the slider equivalent is, like Thor's hammer or something. That would be really cool for scouting. See here. There are, by the way, they didn't mention this. We said it earlier. There are no negative specific quirks, but a quirk like Road Warrior. The thing is, you will get used to pitching. He pitches better on the road, right? Well, that means when you're pitching at home, he's not as good. Like, he won't be as good as he is on the road. That is built-in negative quirk. So these ones that are better against one-handed, you'll see a Jake Lamb does this a little later here. Where is it? Right there? Yep, Jake Lamb. So you see this right here, Platoon. He has the Platoon one over on there. It says excels at batting versus one-handedness only. That means he will be even worse against lefties than somebody that didn't have that Platoon. Jake Lamb, we all referred to affectionately as Rake Lamb in the community, I'm sure. So yeah, home body plays better when he's at home. Yeah, of course, he plays better when he's at home, but guess what? That means he won't be as good on the road. So you get so used to Jake Lamb at home, and then you go, oh, he's not hitting as well. Why is that? Oh, crap, because he's on the road. So again, I love player quirks because of what they mean to team building in franchise mode. This is a big addition that gets rolled over by a lot of franchise gamers. So could the player quirk change to make him pitch better? Yeah, well, that's the thing. If Jake Lamb starts playing better on the road, possibly that home body goes away. And, you know, maybe he gets the Road Warrior too. Maybe he gets both of them. Because if you have home body and Road Warrior, think about that. You get bonuses on both sides. No negative because you're not actually getting a negative bonus, but you don't get that lack of bonus on one side. So let's go here. Do more critical. I think they go back into critical situations a little bit more. They start a franchise and just show how quickly it is. Of course, it's an Orioles franchise. Camden Yards looking nice. So what's cool about this is, so Hyun-Soo Kim, who is on the cover of one of the versions, you're going to see this. This is the player matchup screen now. You see down the bottom, you can't really see their stats, but what is awesome, you see Joe Smith's quirks versus Hyun-Soo Kim's quirks. You can actually see them in game. Clutch. You have to be able to see these things so you know what you're pitching against. You see Platoon, you see Dead Red, and you see Pinch Hitter. Hyun-Soo Kim is a better pinch hitter. He's better against fastballs, and he's better against Platoon. Or he's better against right-handers. So again, very, very, very cool to see what these mean for late inning situations, for platoon situations, for maybe there's a utility one, utility infielder, maybe. All right, so let's continue here. You're gonna see, I think he hits with, yeah. By the way, the camera they've been using, the fielding camera, is the retro mode camera, for any of you that don't know. All right. Here is where this becomes really cool. let's look at Manny Machado's quirks. Dead red, already seen that. Unfazed, good with 2 strikes. Day player, better at day. That's proven by stats. Unbreakable. Manny Machado on 2 surgically repaired knees is unbreakable because in 2016 he played the whole season and played a ton of innings. I wonder what that quirk requires. Also, sniper and cannon. So they didn't talk about fielding quirks, but sniper and cannon sure do sound like fielding quirks for me from one of the best third basemen in the game who is known for his arm. Again, I'm cool with that. Very, very awesome to see fielding quirks as well. I want to see a utility quirk. I want to see a guy who does not take as much of a hit for playing different positions. Like a guy, maybe an athletic or raw ability quirk. Something like that. Do we get to see one more? No, it was 2 outs. That's right. Again, new player faces. I don't think this is the better. I don't think the Joe Smith one is better because of the hair. But that Manny Machado looks a ton better than he did last year. So, Brad Brock up in the bullpen. All right, so let's move on. Yeah. Oh no, you want that? I like that. Rasputin Prime says Swiss Army knife. Maybe that's what they call it for some type of ability to play everywhere. Now here, again, something I think. Yes, Mike Lowe. There are quirks that are dynamic. They said that in the stream that there will be quirks where that people can lose and win, or I mean lose and gain as the season goes on. All right, this is something that kind of got bowled over too, but I'm so glad they brought it up. Cash flow in the budget. What does this mean for you? It means that the budget, which now shows everything that it's doing, they're going to show you more information on the budget because too many players last year, and this was. When it comes to franchise, if you guys have watched me stream, I do a lot of off-season franchises. I'm going to tell you the number one question I have during those franchises is, how do you not run out of money? How do you not get up to your budget? It's because people didn't realize every time they were offering, they couldn't see what their budget was. Like, you have to last year you had to write it down and stuff. This year you don't have to do that. It shows you your cash flow constantly. And yes, you can purchase budget still, if you want to, with stubs. So cash flow is there's other 2 things here I want to talk about. The first one is up in that upper left-hand corner, revenue sharing. That's new. And the other thing is the competitive balance tax, which I don't think is new, but it's showing what it is. By the way, this is future season, but if you go above 185 million, you have a competitive tax to pay back. All of these things make the budget more realistic. Which, again, I don't think you hardcore franchise guys really understand how important a realistic budget is. The one question I have about budgets is, last year, if you start a team, or if you start a franchise, you could take any roster you wanted. You could take a Legends roster if you wanted, right? Take a Legends roster, and whatever their starting payroll is for the Major League, your budget was always $10 million above that. No matter what team it was, no matter what team you did, you could start a Legends budget with all Legends who get like $30 million for 1 year off the bat on the Tampa Bay Rays, and they would have a $300 million budget if your payroll was $290. That was not answered this stream. I will be sending that question off because that needs to be fixed, and I'm hoping with this new budget screen and the new budgeting in general, they do that. But let's talk about cash flow. So they go into cash flow. You see, you get minus $59,000 a week. Every Friday in season, your cash flow gets transferred to your bank. So whatever your total is right there, it either goes down or up. You win more games, you get more cash flow. You have sponsorships, you get more cash flow. You get I think you can do. Let's see here. You mentioned one other way to do this. Oh, yeah, here we go. So the trade screen. Trade Finder looks the same as last year, right? But I'm going to move right here. So you're going to see them move right here, okay, guys? I want you to look real quick because as they put people into this, it will not only show the salary, but it will show the cash flow change.
Right, so
Let's see him move.
look at this guy, right? He's per week.
Looking bottom right, guys. Can they even see that? I think
We're in the black.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
All right, so you see that $3 million in salary, $2 million. You'll see this on the trade screen too.
Let him see that.
It depends on your goals, 60D. 60D88 asks in the chat, is there a better percentage budget increase this year? The problem is, because last year sometimes you'd make the playoffs and you'd lose, but the problem is if you're the Yankees, you might lose budget if you don't make the World Series. Let's show what the final trade screen here, which they show off. Okay, so this is the trade screen for Christopher Prado. Again, these are all fake players from 2052. You see this, a 34-year-old, 86. He has a $3 million salary. They're trading for prospects, $217,000. You get $48,000 cash flow better, and you have a $230,000 max offer. So again, you see these numbers dynamically as you make trades. You get to see what your weekly cash flow is going to be. Very, very, very key for those of you that can't pay attention to budgets very well. So let's keep moving. I know what the next thing is. I know a lot of people, again, looked over this. Keep moving.
110 miles an hour.
So,
Yeah, they're amazing.
again, a top prospect screen. Didn't have this before. Top prospect screen, you can just click on it and it will show all the top prospects in the major leagues at that time. Online franchise was not talked about this stream, Third String Games. There is no online franchise information in this stream. Okay, so top prospect screen right here. Everyone knows who Yon Magata is. Everyone knows Lucas Giolito, Gavin Sacchini, Manuel Margot, like all these guys. But this is dynamic, and it's based on their ratings. It's based on their performance. It's based on their service time as well. So if you don't see somebody on here, it's because they're not a rookie anymore, or they're not a prospect anymore because they have too much time in the majors. Again, if you have so much time in the majors that you are entering your rookie season, you will not be on the prospect list anymore. Benintendi has too much time, Nixie. Benintendi has too much time in the majors. He's not a rookie this year. That's why he's not on the prospect list.
Who's on first? Who's top of the list?
Who do you think? Honestly, my biggest issue is the
What is in game? Hold on, what is it? What are you talking about? Mike, what are you talking about? What is it? Mike Lowe says it is in the game, though. I saw the menu when they're starting a new... Yeah, I mean, online franchise is in the game, guys. It is in the game. They just haven't talked about any updates yet. They consider those different modes.
Here's another thing.
But Benintendi is on a major league roster, so is like... You see these guys in these rosters, even though they're major league, I don't know that he has... Does he have the service time yet? What... All right, what do you mean prospect growth was broken last year, case base? Let's finish this real quick. We'll take questions in a little bit here.
Pretty cool. Last year.
Okay, and then the new morale screen. Morale was in last year, but the only way to see morale was to go into every individual player card. You know how annoying that is to go into every individual player card and tab over?
See what your overall team.
When you click on a player card, you get the...
A lot of smileys.
Yes.
Emoji Central.
Emoji Central.
Okay, so here. In that case, Paul Spore says he is still a prospect, so I don't know if his service time was messed up in that franchise, or if he was, you know what? If this is the middle of a franchise, he may already be playing for Boston. That's why. You know what? Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. Hold on. Where are they at in this franchise? Wherever they are in the franchise, Benintendi may have already been playing and passed it in the franchise mode. Remember that, because it's dynamic during franchise. So I apologize for that. Benintendi entering the year is, but at what point during the year does he get his innings in that he may have gone past it? That might be it too, depending on what their innings limit is for the top prospects. But the morale screen, as you can see, instead of having to go to every individual player, now you can see all of the morale right in one spot. And you will notice as they tab over, so morale right there, the team morale breakdown for morale type, that's a total. But as they switch over to each individual one,
People saying not enough emojis.
So you're looking at Ubaldo Jimenez. He's happy over.
now you see here, he moved over to team roll. He's highlighting the team roll. If you look at the breakdown changes. You can now see everybody's team roll and what they want and what the breakdown is for all of your players. Again, all the information faster to you. That's the point of this. And again, I love that you can just go right down and see very easily. So again, this is a big upgrade. Morale isn't new to the game, but people were kind of ignoring it because it's so hard to get to. Now, easy screen shows the whole team. All right, what's next here? Team roll. Okay, so they uploaded a franchise called The Future. Okay? You see the new Show 17 badge there, but so what they did is they went to 2052. This is for you franchise guys that play well into the game like me. You're gonna like this. There are no major leaguers that we know of in this game right now. You do see the Rule 5 draft pick though. Rule 5 draft pick in the rotation, kind of cool. So when you do this, fake players look terrible this year. A lot of guys that follow my Orioles franchise on Twitch know a guy named Sonny Aochi. He looks like a bobblehead. He looks terrible. You could tell he's a fake player right off the bat. So what they did is they made all the face scans aren't just for all the updated face work in the game, isn't just for Major League players. The generated players also look better. This is what they used to look like. This is the, whoa, come back. So you see the player look is different. Does he look perfect? No. But this looks a hell of a lot better than that does. So, and as you'll see, they have logic for equipment this year. You're going to see this. This is really cool because they added a couple of guys. One of the problems we had with fake players or prospects last year is the equipment was terrible. It was all generic. It was all, there were batting stances. You'd get a good one once in a while, but it was mostly generic 1, generic 2, generic 3. This year they put logic in to add not only difference in player types. See that right there. That Tom Chi guy is tall, thin. Freddie Judd is a starting pitcher, a little shorter, a little stockier. They all have different facial hair. But look at this. Look at this, the New Balance cleats. Those are fresh. These aren't even the freshest ones they show. So different equipment on guys. If you guys play with the fake rosters, like I do, you're going to see, oh, not even the fake rosters, scouted draft picks. When you get draft picks, they're going to have different equipment now, which again, I think is really, really awesome. It adds the immersion. There they are. Look at those. Those were not edited. That is a generated player with generated equipment. So again, for you guys that like, you get a draft and scout, you scout a guy, you get attached to him, you draft him, you put him in your minors, you don't even look at him in game, and then all of a sudden he comes up to your major league team and he's like Joe Random. No offense to Joe Random, shout out to the Yetis, but like he just looks terrible. He just looks bad. Like the swing looks terrible. He wears generic gloves. He's got no swag. No swag. This year they have that. And again, Luis said it very clear. There is logic for the equipment this year. AI logic on what they'll be wearing. So again, that is something that for you franchise guys that play multiple seasons is huge. It's huge for the immersion of the game. Nobody likes getting to players that don't look like the rest of the major leaguers. So you see here, players become closer to their major league counterparts. So I just thought that was really awesome. Again, the biggest pullouts for me of this are the budget screen and the additions there. The new future faces. This is something for me that adds immersion upon immersion. It doesn't take me out of the game by seeing, you know, Freddy Krueger come up to bat. And obviously the player quirks. The player quirks change team building. And anytime you make me think about team building more, that's what franchise mode is about. Franchise mode is about winning games, but also team building. You can play one season if you're not worried about building your team. Franchise mode is multiple seasons, trying to get that team perfect, trying to get draft picks in, trying to trade for prospects or trade your prospects away, and that all matters. It matters getting connected to your guys. So very cool. And the ways to play. I'm going to use Quick Manage a ton. If you watch this stream at twitch.tv/Operation Sports, we're going to have a franchise within the first week of release where we play, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to quick manage a lot of the games that we don't play full games for just to get through multiple seasons. So again, I think that's really awesome. I think they did a great job with franchise. I do have questions. I have questions about the budget I just talked about. I have questions about the progression and regression. The regression, by the way, guys, you guys think regression towards the end of a career, they may have tweaked it a little bit, but it's pretty accurate to what happens in actual MLB. So don't get too hung up on the regression. The player progression, again, I'm curious with player progression how many people use the auto training and how many people don't. If you use manual training, you get better progression than the auto training. So again, how deep do you go in? But again, that's auto training. Is auto training tweaked this year to not have guys that obviously aren't going to steal bases, training and stealing? Those kind of things. And I'm going to ask those questions. Like I said, I have an email together that I'm going to send out. And if I get any answers, I'll let you guys know. But, until next time, I'm Millennium for Operation Sports, dedicated to sports gaming. Thanks you guys for stopping by. Have a great night.